Okay, so good day. This is a video lecture on the topic psychological test selection and administration. So actually, if we are to look back, some of the slides in this topic were already discussed during our synchronous sessions. So perhaps I would just do a recap of those which were already touched so that from there we could take off to our topic, no, specifically on the ethical considerations in the selection, in test selection and administration. Okay, so we have in here the following learning objectives. So, of course, part of what will be discussed would be on the principles of test selection, the different types of psychological tests, which will be the emphasis or the highlight of this video lecture. And of course, in between would be the ethical considerations. Some of these were already discussed in our previous meetings. The process, no? Because our goal definitely is for you to experience test administration, and so you have to be acquainted of the process, no, in administering psychological tests. Okay, and in the topic test administration, what are some of the potential sources of error, or what are the common errors, no, that could be um, or that should be considered, no, by any test examiner, um, by counselors, for example, or even by psychologists or psychometricians whenever they administer tests in their respective fields. Okay, and eventually that after this the scores, you would be guided in terms of test administration in um, practice. Okay, so I think this was laboriously discussed during our synchronous class. No, so remember that part of the principles that must be considered when it comes to test selection would be the concept of psychometric properties of the exam or of the psychological test. And in here, we bring in the concept of validity, reliability, no? And when we talk about validity, the very tenor of it would be um, whether or not it is responsive to this question. Does the test measure what it is supposed to measure? So the first thing that you have to bear in mind is what is it that you wanted to assess? What is the purpose of the assessment or of the testing? No? And it's only there where you could look for appropriate test or assessment tool that would measure what is it that you wanted to measure, no? Because if you would give the wrong tool or the wrong test, no, it would always redound to the data, no, that you would want to gather, no, from the client or from the subject. No? So a test is considered valid if it produces results that reflect the construct it aims to assess. So that if you wanted to lay down the personality characteristics of the subject, then the test that is most fitting or most appropriate for that is a personality test, no? And of course, different personality tests have different validity in the index, no? So there are types of validity that are um, enumerated herein. You have content validity. What is content validity? From the word itself, no? It refers to whether the test items adequately represent the entire range of the concept being measured. No? So you try to look into the very content of the test or the test items, no? And of course, gauge and to whether they um, represent, no, the concept or the construct that is measured, no. Of course, uh, this has to be backed up by statistics, no. I mean, the content validity definitely is not um, established only by merely looking into the test content or the test item, but instead, no, there are appropriate statistical analysis that has to be done. Okay, so for instance, one example provided here is a depression scale, no? So a depression scale should assess multiple symptoms of depression. Okay, so looking into the DSM-5, for example, what are the different criteria, diagnostic criteria for depression. So if you wanted to objectively measure depression levels for purposes of diagnosis, then this depression scale that you would use, no, like you have the BDI, Beck Depression Inventory, for instance, no. If you look into the content of the scale or of the inventory, it must um, consider or it must actually assess not just a single criterion of depression, but a multiple symptoms. So it must cover a range of criteria for depression. So how could you ensure content validity? No, basically, if you are an expert in the field, no, um, um, and of course, no, by experience, no, say for instance, if you are inclined toward the construct on depression, then most likely you could assess or gauge, no, or judge, no, whether the test adequately covers all aspect of the construct of depression. Okay, also try to compare test content with established theories and frameworks. Like I mentioned, if for instance you wanted to look into the veracity of the depression scale, then it has to be contrasted to that of the criteria in the DSM-5 relative to depression. Okay? Then we also have construct validity, no, examines whether a test truly measures the theoretical construct it is designed to assess. So this is crucial for psychological tests measuring abstract traits like intelligence, personality, or anxiety. Okay? So, somewhat in relation to content validity. Masasabi dito, an IQ test should measure intelligence, not just test-taking ability or memory. In the same way that a self-esteem questionnaire should correlate with other measures of self-esteem and not with unrelated constructs like social anxiety. No? So, the following are ways to or methods to establish construct validity. You have there that the test correlates well with other tests measuring the same construct. So that if you would um, if you would correlate uh, the test, like if you are interested to expound on depression, for instance, I mean to understand, no, levels of depression or depression symptoms in your subject, no, uh, of your client rather, no, um, and you would give the client I mean, if we if we would want to establish construct validity, so you would give the client uh different skills or inventories measuring depression. Say, for example, you give the person BDI and then you give the person DAS, no? And any other skill measuring depression. So there is a high construct validity of a particular skill or inventory if it has high correlation, no? If you could establish a high correlation or strong correlation between and amongst these different depression scales or inventory, no? So magkakaibang ano siya, magkakaibang test on depression siya, pero ah since depression scale siya, so kapag tiningnan mo yung test items at i-establish mo yung construct validity niya, mataas kasi itong mga test na to ay they would all assess depression. Okay? Now, there's what we call divergent or discriminant validity. The test should not correlate highly with unrelated constructs. So that if you would correlate it to other tests, to test, to a test or a skill that measure other construct, like say for example, anxiety. No, though there may be there may be uh, aspect where anxiety and depression would meet, no? Uh, but definitely uh, they would not in one way or the other correlate kasi magkaibang construct o magkaibang concept sila. No? Ang mini-measure nila ay magkaibang construct. Okay? Then we also have criterion-related validity. It measures how well test scores relate to an external criterion. Okay, so under the criterion-related validity, you have predictive validity, you have concurrent validity. So what is predictive validity? It assesses how well a test predicts future performance or outcomes. No? So um, an example of this is an employment aptitude test, no, which predict future jobs success, no? And concurrent, on the other hand, examines whether test scores are related to a current established measure. Example would be a new depression scale should yield similar results to an existing clinical interview for depression. Okay, so that if you, for instance, do test construction, no? Part of what you look into in terms of the properties of this new test that you are developing, no, is how similar it is to existing test, no, on that measure that on that particular construct that you are measuring. Okay, so how can we ensure criterion related validity? It compared test scores with real world outcomes, no? So does it in one way or the other determine or predict, no, predict, no, um, your real performance, for instance if it's in an intelligence test or an ability test, no? Use statistical methods like correlation analysis to assess relationships. So as what I've mentioned, um, um, yung mga naunang types of validity at kasama itong criterion-related validity, no? Gumagamit ng mga statistical tools or correlational analysis, no? So, eto, face validity. Compared to the first three types of validity, the face validity is non-scientific, no? Bakit? Because it only rely on the expertise of the um, test developer or the test examiner, no? Particularly in determining the appropriateness of the test vis-a-vis the construct that you measure. No? So if The test appears to measure what it is supposed to measure based on superficial judgment. No? So just by merely reading on the items, no, of the test, no, you could gauge if it's for depression, if it's for stress, okay, or if it's for anxiety, no, or if it's an IQ test, if it's a personality test. Okay. Um, of course, there is a need to look specifically on the test items, no, so that you could establish face validity. Although there is uh, um it will not in any way resort to any statistical analysis or um, tool, no, to gauge or to establish validity. Okay, so we also have reliability. No? So in reliability, you look into whether or not there would be consistent test results, no, once you re-administer the test, no, so that you could establish what we call consistency and stability of test scores over time, no. So like as per practice, for instance, 'di ba, um, yung test familiarity kung minsan. Kaya meron silang window period of at least 6 months, no, before you give or you re-administer the same test, no. But the thought of reliability is if you would re-administer the test, no, will it yield to more likely a consistent or a stable test score or test result, no. So an example herein so that you could more likely grasp the concept of reliability is that if a person takes an IQ test today and scores 110, but takes the same test next week under similar conditions and scores 85, then the test lacks reliability. So the the concept herein is that should the test be re-administered unto the same subject or person uh, with of course the same or similar conditions, no, I mean testing environment and all other factors you are to take into consideration when administering a test. If there would be similar conditions and yet it yielded to a different test score, then you could say that the test lacks reliability. In the same way, if there are two different test examiners, no, and yet you give the same test, personality test, for example, no, to an individual and you get different results, then the test is said to be lacking of reliability. Okay? So there's what we call test-retest reliability. It measures the consistency of test scores over time so that if the person takes the same test on two different occasions under similar conditions, the score should be similar. Okay? So this is expected in psychological tests like for a depression inventory. If you wanted to look into whether or not there would be improvements into the depression level given the intervention, the counseling, the therapy that you give to the person, so that if you um what if you would give the same test within a short span, I mean interval, no, and you could get similar scores, no, there is an assumption that the patient's condition is not changed, or um, that most probably, you know, there can be other factors, no, that were were uh, that had affected, no, the the result, no? But if as you have as you have uh, heard, if the test was given in similar conditions, and yet there were different there was inconsistency rather as to test result, then you could say it lacks test test reliability, no? So how can we measure test reliability through statistical tools like your correlation coefficient? If you happen to look into some psychometric properties of tests, you could see actually are, no? Kung minsan, yung Cronbach alpha, yun yung mga tinitingnan ninyo, to look into the psychometric properties, particularly in relation to reliability, no? So you have there the factors, no, that could affect test reliability, no? Yung nabanggit ko kanina, yung time interval, no, kapag binigay nyo yan ng a matter of days lang, no? Or kapag masyadong mahaba, masyadong matagal, no? There can be different factors that would affect, no? Um, the the test result. No? Yung practice naman, practice effect if the seekers remember previous answers, scores might improve artificially, particularly in IQ test. Okay? So some forms of reliability, parallel forms assesses whether two different versions of the same test produce consistent results, no? Because there are tests that actually would undergo revisions, or that there are different versions of such inventory or skill or test, no? So you could say that there is high uh, reliability if amidst these versions, no, you could still produce consistent results. No, you have the aptitude test, no, examples, no, which still must yield to different or to the same or consistent results because these are tools which have high reliability. Okay. So how to measure? Administer two equivalent versions of the test to the same group and calculate the correlation between the scores. No? So definitely this, as I mentioned, needs statistics. Okay? What else? We also have internal consistency, reliability. It measures the consistency of items within a test. No? So that if there would be test items which are the same, no? What do you do, no? Kung paano nagiging redundant na siya, no? Pwede siyang tanggalin. Ito usually yung ginagawa sa mga ina-adapt na test, no? Like when, for instance, you have a foreign test, no? And you wanted to um you wanted to translate, no, the test and adapt the test, to translate the test and to validate, no, the adapted test, no, or tool, no. There is, or this one, internal consistency reliability, is one of the properties that you have to um, prove, or you have to prove that the adapted test or the translated test has high internal consistency reliability. No? Ang sabi dyan, self-esteem questionnaire with 20 questions should have items that all relate to self-esteem. Otherwise, no, there's a need for there's a need for items to what? To be reduced or to be removed, no, in the scale. Okay? So you have how to measure, and dito pala papasok yung Cronbach alpha. So the test is divided into halves, and the scores from each half are compared. So high correlation between the two halves, strong indicates strong reliability. Or once you are able to establish a Cronbach alpha of 0.70 or higher, indicates good reliability. Okay? Then we also have inter-rater reliability. It measures how consistently different examiners or raters score or interpret test results. No? So this is especially important for subjective tests, no? Like projective tests, behavioral observations. No? Like in the Rorschach ink blot test, for example, if it is being scored, if the test of one subject is being scored separately by two psychologists, no? They should be able to what? Give similar interpretations for the same responses, no? Because there there is a manual that has to be followed, and so there would still be, while there may be propensities for subjective appraisal, no, of the response, no, the psychologist or the examiners must be guided by what is in the manual. So in the same manner, when there are in the same manner, or in cases of essays, no, is it not that you are bound to refer to the rubrics, no, so that there would still be objectivity as to the scoring of the essay test. No? So how to measure inter-rater reliability? You have the Cohen's kappa and percentage agreement. As what I've mentioned, these are intervened by, there are statistical interventions. Okay? So part also of what we are to consider is standardization. So what's standardization? Are there established norms for interpreting scores? So we look into the concept of norming. Okay? And of course, um, standardization in psychological testing refers to the process of developing, administering, and scoring a test in a consistent, uniform manner to ensure fairness, reliability, and validity. So a standardized test has established norms and procedures allowing for accurate comparison of results across different individuals and groups. The reason why it is okay for us to adapt, um, or to make use even of foreign authored psychological tests is because these are known as standardized tests. No, like for example, you have the Beck Depression Inventory. It's not really localized for Filipinos, but we make use of it, for instance, in diagnosing um, depression. Or if we want to look into levels of depression, anxiety, and stress, we have the DAS, Depression, Anxiety, and Stress Scale. No? And these were known tests or scales, no, measuring these constructs, which come with what? With uh, standardized uh, uniform manner. Sabi nga dyan kanina, no, that these tests were developed, administered. I mean, even in its manual, no, even in its manual rather, you could see not only the psychometric properties, but even the very guidelines in administering and scoring, no? And this makes it standardized so that if the questionnaire is used by population uh, which other than to which the scale was intended or was purposefully used, no? Um, it would still yield to what we call objective or valid or reliable results. No? So we have the key features. It's uniform test. There is uniform test administration, consistency in scoring procedures. There are established norms, no? Makikita nyo yan pag sa mga standardized test, makikita nyo yung mga norming, no? So if it's for general population, for example, no, for if it meron yung mga age norms, tama ba? Kung minsan makikita nyo rin kung anong specific race or country siya, no? Reliability and validity testing. Okay? So the concept of fairness also is one of the principles that must be considered in test selection because whether we like it or not, there would be factors like what? Bias, no? So is it free? Is the test free from cultural or linguistic bias? So kung ipapa-exam mo sa Filipinos, natural ang mother tongue natin ay Tagalog, meron siyang linguistic bias. Kaya ang ginagawa kung minsan ay tinatagalog siya, no? Ina-adapt, tinatranslate at binavalidate siya. And then yung validated Tagalog version or Filipino version, yun na yung ginagamit sa Filipino population. Okay? So how do we avoid test bias? No? We have this construct bias. No, the test does not measure the same psychological trait across different groups. No, example would be for Western developed personality test. No, it may not really be a reliable or even a valid test that yes, it may be a valid test, no, but it may not really accurately measure personality for subjects for subjects who are not from that culture. No? Kaya meron tayo din yung version natin, yung panukat ng pagkataong Pilipino, di ba? So, um, that's a locally made personality test. That actually is a way for us no to combat biases in psychological tests. Method bias, differences in test administration or scoring, no? So that the test examiner must not deviate from the manual. No? If the test as if the test manual says that you are to administer the test for this period of time within 10 to 15 minutes. So the test examiner or administrator does not have the discretion actually to give what the test in a longer period of time other than what is in the manual. Okay, otherwise that's method bias. Then item bias, specific test items are more difficult for one group than another for reasons unrelated to the construct. No? So, although of course, depends upon the purpose of the assessment. At times, we do this um, in the academe, di ba? So, a math test includes culturally specific word problems, may be harder for individuals unfamiliar with that, not sport, no, with that particular test, no? Oo, with that sport. Kasi baseball statistics daw siya. So, statistics, math siya, pero meron siyang, kumbaga parang it points out to a specific sport. So, if I'm not really inclined to or interested to that sport, then it would really be hard for me because I could not, for instance, understand no, that concept or construct. Okay? So, ayan. Alam nyo naman na itong fairness kasi na-discuss naman na natin yan sa ating mga previous topic. So, fairness still would be on how culturally fair. Remember, Westerners have individualistic culture while um, Asians or Easterners have collectivistic culture. So if you For example, make use of personality test from the West in the East. Definitely there would be issues as to how culturally fair is the test. Okay? So not only linguistic bias, but even issues on how culturally appropriate is the test for the population. Okay? So part also of what we are to consider would be on accommodations for those with disabilities. Okay? To ensure that you always go back onto the principles, no, of beneficence and non-maleficence as much as possible. um, you do no harm when you do assessment or testing. It must be in a manner that would benefit definitely everyone involved in the uh, situation or in the testing. Okay? Ano pa? Even in terms of test interpretation and decision making, there must be fairness, no? So the we are not walang masyadong siguro I hope na walang magiging problema dito kasi kapag standardized test naman ang gamit, meron siyang manual at yung manual ang talagang parang Biblia na gagamitin para you refer herein pagka ikaw ay nag-score at nag-interpret. Hindi ka pwedeng basta-bastang gumawa ng sarili mong scoring key. No? Kasi merong scoring key yan. Sa IQ test, meron yan. Okay? Kahit sa mga personality test din, meron specific, um, may specific equivalence yung mga raw scores na na tawag dyan na nakalakip doon sa manual. Okay? So we also have the purpose of testing as part of the principles. Is the test designed for clinical diagnosis, for educational placement, or for occupational screening? So you asked what's the purpose of testing, and it's only there where where you're able to determine what test you will use. Okay. Okay, so this was the task that I had given you. And in this lecture, we tried looking into the answer. Okay, so a school psychologist is choosing a test to assess students with learning difficulties. They compare two tests. Test A has high validity and reliability for identifying dyslexia, but is only normed for English-speaking students. While Test B may have slightly lower reliability, but has been normed for multilingual populations. So which test should the psychologist use? Okay, so we look into which must or which should be used. Test B daw, based on the principles discussed previously, Test B is more appropriate because it has greater fairness and applicability for diverse students. Okay? So the explanation would point unto the fairness and appropriateness of the test because again, it's a test designed for what's the purpose of the test, no? So you go back unto the purpose of the test. Ang purpose ng test ay to assess learning difficulty. Okay? And then um is it what does it conform to the requirement on fairness? Yes, it also conform to the requirement of fairness. Okay, so sabi dito test B should be chosen because it has been normed for multilingual populations, ensuring greater fairness and applicability for diverse students, no? Compared to what? As compared to what? Okay, so other explanation uh, of why test B must be chosen, no? Validity over reliability in this context. So while reliability is important, validity is the top priority, no? So whether the test measures what it claims to measure. So I'm sure the um the issue a while ago is that it's a test for learning. It's a test that assesses learning difficulty. The only issue is that um, it has low reliability. So validity is still there. And when validity and when validity and reliability is when validity and reliability are in conflict ba tawag doon? I mean, kung kailangan mong mamili, no? Kung kailangan mong mamili, you go with high validity, no? As compared to reliability. Okay? So, yan. Then we move further. Now, part also of the discussion would be the different uh, types of tests, no, types of psychological tests. Okay? These are not new to you. You might have encountered some of these tests already and might even have used no these tests in your practice, no, in your workplaces, no? To some, uh, perhaps if you have not encountered yet uh, some of these tests, no, you could perhaps do some searching of it. There are some of these are some of the description, no, of the test or even as to how it looks like, no, are online, no. So although syempre hindi natin ma-access ang mga ito kasi mga paid test to mga to. Ito yung mga standardized at nabibili talaga. At hindi basta-bastang nakakabili actually, no? Kasi meron tayong qualifications of test users na i-discuss natin in a while. Okay? So you have their uh, intelligence test. What for is the intelligence test? It measures cognitive abilities, problem-solving skills, and overall intellectual functioning. There are a lot of intelligence tests that are readily accessible online, depending on what framework or theory you are um, grounding, no, the test, no? To mention some, what are the uses pala of psychological tests, no, particularly in relation to guidance and counseling practice, no? So it can be used to assess intelligence, giftedness, and even intellectual disabilities, no? So if you wanted, for instance, to gain information, particularly um, as to um, when you, for instance, do intervention or even diagnosis, no? Kasi syempre, hindi ka naman makakapag-intervene, no? Kung wala mo lang diagnosis, no? And these tests also aid educational or occupational placement. No? So if there's a need, for example, based on the intelligence score to put the child in special education class or it does the IQ indicate that you could mainstream the child to the general population. So mga ganong mga applications ba. Okay? So, nandito yung mga iba't ibang test. Siguro yung iba familiar kayo. Pero meron akong in-include din dito na mga gamit din natin dito sa Pilipinas. Katulad itong RPM, ginagamit natin yan. No? Bakit? kahit na hindi siya locally authored or locally made, yan ay proven and tested na ah, merong tinatawag na isa sa mga characteristics niya ay is that it's a culturally fair assessment test for intelligence or assessment for intelligence. Okay? Then we also have din yung panukat ng kakayahang Pilipino. Siguro sa mga taga ah, MCNP kasi way back when I was at MCNP, part also of our ay wala pa yan pala nung time namin. Pero ito yung sa pagkakaalam ko, no? Isa ito sa mga ginagamit, no? Na test dyan. Parang nabanggit nyo, no? Parang may isa sa inyo nagbanggit before, no? So yan. So bakit daw kailangan ang intelligence test? Because it helps diagnose learning disabilities, guide educational placement, and identify cognitive strengths and weaknesses. Na kailangan din kapag ikaw ay siguro um, magka-counsel or nandyan na yan. No? Yung mga uses ng test na ito ang pinaka um, emphasis kung bakit ah, importante siya sa guidance and counseling practice. Okay? Aptitude and ability test. So, whether or not you are, um, if you are to gauge whether or not a person has the ability or potentiality, no, to learn new skills or to succeed in a particular um, career, no, um, what you'll use is the aptitude and ability test. No? So under this, we have the differential aptitude test. No? These are used by high school students, no, in order to match their career uh, once they enter college. No? So these are for educational planning purposes. And then meron din tayo actually yung Philippine Aptitude Classification Test, no? So ganun din ang purpose used for high school and college students. No? Definitely to for the purposes of um, looking into what suitable career paths. So kung titingnan mo kung saan ba siya aligned yung kanyang uh, ability. So sa engineering ba siya o sa education ba siya or sa psychology ba siya? Okay? Then we also have ayan. So it predict future performance in education and careers by measuring innate skills. Ang purpose niya is for career counseling and guidance, for educational planning and talent identification. Okay? Achievement test. No? So there are many achievement tests. Meron tayong mga achievement tests, di ba? During our elementary or even high school, meron tayong mga kasama tayo lagi dyan sa nag-achievement test. No? So, para saan? To identify strengths and weaknesses, to ensure curriculum effectiveness. That's the purpose why DepEd would give achievement test every end of the school year, no? For the purposes of looking into how the curriculum is, no? Is there something that has to be innovated in the curriculum based on the result of the achievement test? So for intervention planning, for the determination of or towards advanced education or certification. And of course, personality test. You know what it meant by personality test, no? So if you are to measure personality characteristics, tendencies, behaviors, no, we make use of personality tests. And what for our personality tests? No, what is it for? No, in clinical psychology, we use it no to um, determine personality disorders, no, career counseling and employee selection. Part of what is used when we apply for jobs is personality test, no? Because part of the process definitely is for the employer to be acquainted of what kind of persons are they hiring. Okay? So, ayan. Meron tayo nung anong personality test na meron tayo sa Pilipinas? Meron tayong tinatawag na panukat ng pagkataong Pilipino. So ang kaniyang theoretical framework ay yung NEOA, no? Yung Big Five personality theory. Okay? Then we also have interest inventories, no? Ano ang interest inventory, no? So these are psychological assessment tools designed to measure an individual's preference for specific activities, topics, or work environment. So, anong pagkakaiba niya sa aptitude or sa intelligence test? Ha? Intelligence test assess what a person can do, but interest inventories assesses what a person likes to do. Okay, and these are two different measures. So you have there some of the examples of interest test, no? Sa career guidance ninyo, for sure na encounter nyo na yung mga yan. Strong interest inventory, Kudor career interest inventory, yan, na-encounter nyo na yan most likely in your career guidance course. Okay? Then, we also have values and attitudes, skills. Okay? From the word itself, it measures a person's belief, principles, priorities, and emotional evaluations about life, work. Papasok dito yung work values. Work values scale, no? Filipino work values scale. Okay? Then, behavioral and diagnostic assessment. Okay? What does it measure? It evaluates emotional, behavioral, and psychological functioning. No? So, for the purposes of what? Diagnosis, referrals, and even in terms of when you are to develop support plans or interventions, no? Uh, um, we make use of behavioral and diagnostic assessments, no? So we have BDI as one of these, as one examples of this. Okay. And lastly, we have neuropsychological test, no? So, yung pagkakaiba ng behavioral and diagnostic assessments, usually ginagamit ito sa educational, kahit naman sa clinical, no? Pero specific kasi itong neuropsychological test, ginagamit ito sa clinical setting, no? To gauge whether there are what? Um, there are impairments as to our brain function, whether there are cognitive deficits, or even neurological disorders. No? So, as I call on literatures, meron ako na-encounter na cognitive assessment for Tagalog speakers. No? Ang ito ay isang localized na tool, neuropsychological battery na ginagamit para ma-detect ang Alzheimer's disease and related dementia, no? So yan yung CATS, Cognitive Assessment for Tagalog Speakers. Ito pala ang last, yung projective test. Okay. Alam nyo naman siguro kung ano ang projective test, no? There would be a presentation of ambiguous stimuli and that the subject or the test taker is what? Um, um, Okay, so you have the projective test. No? It assesses unconscious thoughts, emotions, and personality traits through ambiguous stimuli. Okay, so as what I've mentioned, the test taker herein is being presented by an ambiguous as stimuli, and um, the test taker is made to respond. No, of course, um, sharing his or her perception towards the stimuli being shown or being presented. Okay? Example would be Rorschach ink blot test. Papasok din dito yung DAPT, SACS sentence completion test, okay? Yung thematic perception test. Okay? You will come to know these tests when we specifically um, discuss this test, and particularly you will be experiencing taking some of these and administering it as well to your clients later. Okay? So what are some of the ethical considerations when you select and administer psychological tests? No? These are not new, as I mentioned, because we have taken this in some of our discussions earlier. Okay, so informed consent when you administer tests, or even in test selection. No, I mean, definitely you would not be doing test selection without the purpose of administering the test. And when you administer the test taker or the subject or the client must be well informed of the purpose of why you are giving the test. No? Uh, um, it all depends at times and to whether it is as part of educational protocol or if it is court mandated. So maraming mga pwedeng rason kung bakit tayo nagpapa-exam. Halimbawa sa educational setting, bakit ba tayo nagpapa-exam? Because it form part of the services that we offer in the guidance center, no? So what is to be considered herein is that test takers must be fully informed of the purpose, the nature, and the consequences of the test before taking it. No? So, kung para saan, okay? Ano-ano ang mga test, ano-ano ang mga tawag dyan, kailangan niyang malaman patungkol dito sa ipapa-exam mo. Okay? So, papasok dito yung tinatawag na informed consent, lalong-lalo na sa mga ah, minors, no? So kapag ang mag-e-exam o ang ina-assess mo ay minor, cannot give his or her consent, you have to take the consent from the legal guardian, usually the parents. Okay? Or even if the person is not minor, hindi siya of legal age siya pero with disability. Ibig sabihin he is not mentally or psychologically capable to give consent. In such a case, you still have to obtain the consent from the legal guardian. Okay? Now, can I since ito pala sa sa educational setting. Can I, these are exemptions. No? Kasi ito ay mga routinary educational protocols, or I mean activities, no? In cases of the usual or the routinary testing activities in schools, usually these are exempted of um, informed consent. Okay? For as long as you are to explain the purpose of the test, no? um, tawag dyan, sa higher education, for example, in HEIs, di ba? kapag nagpapatest tayo. Kasi practically hindi naman na sila minors, no? Pero yun nga, one exemption is when the testing is made as part of educational or routinary educational activities or protocols. Okay? Then we also have fairness. Alam nyo na yan, ba? That it must be fair, culturally fair, linguistically fair. It must not be discriminative. Okay? Then, uh, we also have confidentiality and privacy. Should I agree for testing, um, it must be that the result must be what? Who has the right to access the result, no? First and foremost, the test taker, no? So we also have to consider other um, standards, like we have the data privacy laws, no? Which when we gather information from our clients, no, it must be um, taken with utmost confidentiality, no? So the test takers, the authorized professionals, or the guardians, when necessary, are the only ones to have access of the results. Okay? What else? When it comes to competence and qualifications of the test administrator, so kailangan meron ding consideration of whether the test examiner is competent or is qualified to give the test, no? So, dito papasok yung proper training and certification. Dito papasok yung levels of test actually, no? So, speaking of the levels of test, we have three levels. Level A, no? These are tests which can be adequately administered, scored, and interpreted with the aid of the manual. So anyone uh, who is capable of reading and understanding the test manual, ah, and upon supervision, no, of um, siguro, ano ba ang upon supervision? No. Iba pa lang, iba yung so, I repeat, in level A, um, it requires that the examiner is able to what? Understand the manual, no? So if, for instance, you are administering what? Interest, kasi usually in level A, this would include vocational proficiency test, interest inventories, di ba? For as long as you are capable of what? Understanding the way it must be administered, scored, and interpret, no? Uh, if you are if you are acquainted as to the principles of assessment, you can do this, no? So, ato pala, must always be under the direction of a qualified supervisor or okay. In Okay, so in level A, as what I've mentioned, it requires, ito pala yung, ano niya, it requires advanced level courses be it in the undergrad or in the graduate, in testing. Okay, so meaning to say that for as long as you have the experience, the qualification, academic qualification, or the required training, no, sabi dyan, equivalent training under the direction of a qualified supervisor or consultant. So ito pala yung sinasabi ko kanina, under the supervision of a qualified consultant or supervisor, no? So I repeat to make it clear in level A, um, it's not enough that you have understood the manual, but that because there are stringent requisites also at times of these tests, no? There must be what? An equivalent academic qualification. So either in the graduate or in the undergraduate degree in testing. So dapat meron kang knowledge on assessment. So kung educational assessment 'yan, kung teacher ka, no? Or kahit na hindi ka or kasi kahit na wala ka nung academic qualification na yon, basta meron kang training, equivalent training. Okay? In testing or in test measurement or in assessment. Okay? Then we also have level B. Sa level B naman, it requires specific training for administration, scoring, and interpretation. So it's not enough that you are able to read and understand the manual. This time, there is a requisite training for scoring, administering, and interpreting the test. Okay? Plus, what are some of the examples? Include achievement or interest tests, screening inventories, and personnel tests. No? So you must also what? Have adequate training in psychometrics. No? So yung psychometric properties, yung standardization, reliability, validity na pinagsasabi natin kanina, dapat naiintindihan mo din yun. And supervised experience. No? So training, supervised experience, training in test administration, interpretation, and scoring. There must be adequate training also in psychometrics. There must also be supervised experience in testing and in assessment. Okay? Uh, ang pinaka-strict ay si level C. Bakit? Kasi dito papasok yung mga diagnostic tools usually. No? So when you are to diagnose certain disorders, for example, it's in level C. So it's most restricted. No? So this require advanced training and experience in administration, scoring, and interpretation. Requires graduate level training in the specific professional field to which the tests apply, no? So that you must have uh, uh, what do you call that, training along these fields and the degree also. So either a master's or a doctoral degree in education, psychology, or related discipline, no? Um, for psychological test, you must be a registered psychologist. No? So, sa context natin, di ba, yung ginagamit natin sa mga guidance offices or guidance centers, no? Um, may mga, usually ito mga level B ang gamit natin, no? And since may mga uh, counselors and at the same time psychologists naman, they could use uh, or they could administer level C test. Okay? Ayan, ulit lang ito. Then we also have, apart from the competence, we have test selection appropriateness. So, nabanggit ko na ito kanina, kailangan marunong ka, alam mo kung ano ba ang gusto mong i-measure, ano ba ang nandun sa testing program nyo? Ano ba ang objective ng testing program? Kasi kapag na-lay down na yon, alam nyo kung anong test ang gagamitin. Okay? Then feedback and debriefing. So even in the feedbacking of test results, no, there are ethical considerations, no. So when you give feedback, tama ba magbigay kayo ng feedback na group? No, depende sa test na in-administer nyo, no? At depende kung sinasabi dun sa manual na pwede, no? Kung minsan kasi sa guidance centers, ano ba yung mga binibigay nating mga test, 'di ba? Nakalagay na dun mismo sa sa answer sheet. Kapag nag-feedback kasi sila, 'di ba binabalik nila sa inyo yung papel nyo? Binabalik ba? Hindi ko alam kung ano yung particular experience nyo, pero um, that the examiner gives back the test material answered by the examinee or the client, and then explains the result. No? So this is the raw score, for example, if it's an IQ test, and then this is the equivalent uh, or the ano ba, stanine, kung stanine man yan or whatever, depending on the manual of the test. No? And then this is what it means, no? So, pwede lang group siguro 'yon kapag mga IQ test kasi automatic naman na mga quantitative ano naman 'yan, merong quantitative description then merong interpretation, no? Pero pag personality test na meron pang mga iba't ibang elements, halimbawa yung 16 PF, mas mainam na ibigay siya ng individual. Pero either group man or individual ang feedbacking, kailangan personal na ma-receive nung test taker yung result. Okay? Tapos pag nag-explain ka, huwag ka nang masyadong gumamit pa ng mga highfalutin words, no? You just explain kasi yung examinee, hindi naman yan psychology major. Hindi nila maintindihan yan kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng stanine o this is the kwan, ano pa, marami pa yung mga pinagsasabi mong mga jargon. Just go straight to the point. So this is what it means. So it's below average. This is what it further means by having a below average IQ. Mga ganon. Okay? Now, what are the sources of errors in test administration? So you have procedural error. From the procedure, from the first process of selecting, di ba? Kasi in test selection, meron ng procedure na nangyari doon. Kailangan mo ikumpara ano ba ang objective mo of assessing or testing. And then ano yung mga available na test. And then, doon ba sa test selection, meron din bang error as to procedure? No? So from the test selection down to the test administration, scoring, and even up to feedbacking. No? Meron bang error in the procedure? Okay, so yun yun. Meron bang improper timing? Sinabi doon sa IQ test na 10 minutes lang, pero gusto mong mag-extend, binigyan mo ng extension. Tama, mali, mali, kasi that's a procedural error. Equipment malfunction. Issues with testing tools. For example, kapag computer-aided yung test, no? At nag-error sa system, no? It may disrupt the process and it compromises the accuracy of the data. Okay? Then we also have examiner bias. Oh, favoritism or discrimination, hypothesis confirmation bias, no? Like kapag ikaw ay medyo nagbibigay ng hint, no? Sa test taker, no? So, ma'am, anong ibig sabihin nito? Dahil ano, bigay ka naman ng hint, no? So, you just answer the way you understood. So, I think that's the safest response, no? Then, environmental factors, no? Marami ito pag testing, lalong-lalo na kapag wala kayong designated testing room, di ba? So, usually, the examinee deals with the external distractions, no? Ventilation also, and kasama din ba dito yung time of the day, no? I think merong separate dyan. Okay, tingnan natin. Okay? So, ayan. Lighting and temperature variations. So, yung iba dito mo pinag-exam, yung iba sa kabila mo pinag-exam, magkaiba ng setting. Meron din, may corresponding impact ba sa result? Pwede, no? Participant-related factors, yung examinee, no? Examinee-related factors. So, fatigue, pagpagod siya, pag wala siyang tinatawag na psychological readiness for the test, no? Emotionally strained siya, masakit ang ulo niya, cognitive and affective mismatch, like language barriers, no? I recall one of your examples, no? One of your disclosures, yung Ilocano yung nag-exam, tapos yung exam ay English. So how could you translate? How sure are you that you are accurate in the translation? No? So dito papasok yung language barrier, yung cultural bias. Response styles. No? So we have what we call acquiescence error, the tendency to agree with items regardless of their content can distort results. Di ba may mga ganun tayo kapag mga ang ini-exam natin ay mga yung mga Likert skills na merong strongly agree and disagree, mga ganon. Kapag mga ano yan, mga uh, personality related constructs, 'di ba? May tendency tayo ng acquiescence errors. And criticalness errors, the opposite tendency to disagree regardless of content can also introduce inaccuracies. So this is the um, in contrast to acquiescence errors. No? Pag may mali sa scoring and interpretation, ako, talagang matindi yan. Bakit? Kasi meron at meron siyang impact sa result. So what should we do? We always have to abide as to what is in the manual. Okay? So strategies, strict adherence to standardized procedures. Again, you go back to the manual. Train examiners, no? Kung bago ka sa center, sa testing center o sa guidance center, no, ang tendency ay supervised muna yung test administration. Optimize testing environments, use culturally sensitive and linguistically appropriate tests, and monitor your participants. Okay? Now, process of administering. Okay? Some literatures would say that there are uh, six processes. No? You conduct a clinical interview. No? So, syempre kapag pumunta yung client sa'yo, hindi mo alam kung ano yung issue niya, kung ano yung concern niya. So, ang pinaka safest way bago ka mag-prescribe ng kung anong assessment ang gagawin mo, mag-prescribe talaga, no? Ay kailangan mo siyang interviewin. Okay? So, ah syempre, papasok na dyan yung building rapport, mga ganun. No? Choosing a battery of tests. So test selection na yan, then test administration, scoring interpretation, and then eventually you would integrate those information you called from the interview and that of the test result, and then you write your assessment report, include herein your observations during the testing and even during the clinical interview. And then the last would be you provide feedback. So yun, doon lang magre-revolve yung testing, no? Test administration. Okay? Now, para mas ano siya, mas specific siya, tingnan natin. What are some of the things that you have to consider before test administration? So, yan. Papasok dyan yung test selection, informed consent, environment setup, and material preparation. So, test selection, magdedepende ka kung ano yung mga disclosures niya sa clinical interview. No? So, halimbawa, kapag nakita mo, meron siyang mga preoccupation on some, um, uh, meron siyang mga disclosures ng mga about anxiety, halimbawa. So, to confirm that, you could give the person an anxiety inventory, no? So, you also look into the, ayan, cognitive, emotional, and behavioral evaluation. Okay? This would uh, help you or aid you to determine what tests to give. Okay? And then informed consent. Okay? Nakita ko na based on your interview, ito yung mga concerns mo, parang meron kang mga uh, may mga symptoms ka of anxiety, for example, no? So to confirm that, so I'll give part of what I'll give is, and yun, dun sa informed consent, you are now laying down the purpose, the procedure, and the expected outcome. Okay? So, paano kung yung ang concern mo ay, ma'am, paano kapag inorient ko siya, magiging familiar na siya sa test, possible ba na mag-fake siya? No? So, while that can be possible, remember that there are tests naman that measures impression management. No? So, and siguro kailangan mo rin i-forewarn yung client na for us to yield to a more accurate result, no? The examiner or the subject or the client must be very truthful and honest when he or she responds on the test. Then set up mo na yung environment, yung testing environment, testing room. Then i-prepare mo yung material. No? So yun yung mga kailangan na i-consider before test administration. And then, to ensure that there is a standardized administration procedure, ano ang kailangan? Babalikan mo yung manual. Dapat consistent ka sa instruction. Kung ano yung nasa manual, yun lang. Walang labis, walang kulang. Sa timing, kailangan nandun din kasi laging nakalagay naman dun ang approximated time frame ng testing. No? So, kailangan mo ng timer, why not? No? To ensure accuracy as to the time schedule. Then monitoring to ensure that your examinee follow instructions and that they remain focused. No? So, kapag nagtanong, halimbawa, ng item tungkol sa test, no? Anong sasabihin? You always have to, what? Your response must not be leading in a manner that it may affect the test result as well. So, kailangan i-consider mo rin na lalo-lalo na pag IQ test yan, magtanong siya ng item, syempre, makukuha niya na yung sagot. Okay? Then, addressing participant needs, no? Rapport building, accommodation, so ethical considerations. So, laging babalik kayo doon sa principle of do no harm, no? Beneficence and non-maleficence. Okay? Managing examiner bias, ayan, babalik tayo doon sa nabanggit natin kanina na as much as possible, you should not play favorites. Hindi porket kakilala mo halimbawa yung nag-exam ay magbibigay ka ng hint sa IQ test o di kaya sa entrance test, di ba? Discrimination and non-prejudicial behavior. Okay? Neutrality must always be observed. When you record responses, like for example, um, um, observations, no? Okay, the observations that you have while the examinee is taking the test. No, you must be accurate, no? Because whether you like it or not, this will always affect the scoring. Okay, and when you score, okay, babalik kayo ulit sa manual. Kapag nag-feedback, ayan, constructive and tailored to the needs. And report writing, we will have a separate discussion on report writing later on. No? So before you will experience testing. Um, I will also give you guidelines on a psychological test report writing. I think this is where the slide ends. So that is all for this topic. Oh my God.